Hey everybody, welcome to week 2 of New Learning for World History. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are staying safe. At least the sun is shining outside, so even though we're on day 45 of our quarantine here, at least it feels like we're turning the corner and getting into spring, which is nice. So I wanted to take a little bit of time today and just recap what you guys did last week and then spend a little bit of time introing the documents that you guys are going to be looking at next week. So a couple things right off the bat that I just want to make sure we're all on the same page on. If possible, please submit your work via Schoology. It's much easier for me to keep track of and much easier for me to grade if you do so. Number two, when you do submit work to me, please make sure you have your name on it and if possible, put your hour on there as well. Again, just makes it a lot easier to keep track of, especially if you're emailing it to me. Sometimes I can't tell who it is based on your email address, so please make sure you're being clear with that. Please answer all parts of the assignment that we give you. To receive credit, you must have a significant portion of the work done, and it must be done thoroughly. And our expectations, we're looking for complete sentences, thorough answers, that kind of information. So please make sure when you're doing your work that you're doing it just as you would if we were in class. So let's talk about what we did last week. Last week, you guys looked at this DBQ over World War I, and I had you guys do two activities. So we started with a hook activity. An interesting one to look at here would be number 4. Our president tells us, no, excuse me. Let's go to number 2. Let's talk about a nation with a mutual defense alliance. Allies are going to be a key role of World War I. So when we start to talk about what were some of the causes of World War I, this idea of an alliance is really going to play a key role. So think about today, Canada or Great Britain might be an ally of ours. What if somebody attacked them? Would we want to jump into that war to come to their rescue? So that one kind of sums up what we wanted you guys to think about with the hook activity. The background essay we wanted you to read. You guys are pretty familiar with these at this point. And then you guys had some questions to answer. And again, let's take a look at number 4 here. How might a balance of power prevent war? Think about before World War I, you had Great Britain, you had France, you had Austria, Russia, you had all these great countries that really kind of were on the same page in terms of their power. And for about 30 or 40 years, that kept peace. With things like imperialism and getting colonies and the new idea of nationalism, this led to countries wanting to become more powerful. And so that really started to disrupt that balance of power. And that's really what set the stage for World War I. So again, you had your background essay questions. These were the two things we wanted you to do last week. Some of you worked ahead on the documents, which we didn't want you to do, but if you did, it's not the end of the world. Just kind of keep in mind what I talk about today, and maybe you need to go back and adjust some of your answers a little bit. So let's talk about the documents. Let's start here with document A. What I'd like you to do right off the bat is kind of pay attention to the sourcing of the document. Is this a primary? Is this a secondary source? Does this give us a date where it's from? Can we tell who created it? Is there maybe some bias in here? Just some things that we want you guys to be in the habit of looking at when you look at these documents. This document is a map, and it's showing us the two sides of World War I, the Triple Alliance and the Triple Entente, which would later be called the Central Powers and the Allied Powers. So here you see what would be the Allies, the United Kingdom, France, Russia. Italy's going to jump to their side in a little bit, versus the Triple Alliance, or what becomes known as the Central Powers. And so let's jump down to number 5 on the question here. This one's getting into that idea of alliances that I mentioned earlier. So talking about Russia having a special ethnic tie with Serbia. So if we have Russia here, if we have Serbia down here, let's say that Austria-Hungary invades Serbia. Is that then going to lead Russia to want to get involved in this war here? What about the United Kingdom? I'm an ally of Russia. I might not have close ties to Serbia, but because Russia's getting involved, that might pull me into this war. So the alliance system had a really kind of key role in how these countries got into this war. Think about even the United States. We didn't get into 1917, and a lot of it had to do with who our allies were in Europe at the time. Not to mention we were being, our submarines were being bombed by the German U-boats. But, this idea of us having friends in Europe had something to do with us getting involved. So that would be some key info on document A. Document B, again, let's take a look at the source. We have a political cartoon it looks like, coming from an American newspaper. So we maybe think about what the bias might be in here coming from America. If you look here, we see the leaders of all the great European nations kind of in like a circular firing squad, all pointing their fingers at one another, trying to lay blame as to who's responsible for the start of World War I. In the background here, we see the piece of Europe laying on this, like sarcophagus with a knife through the chest. And so what they're all doing is trying to place blame as to who, started World War I and led to the death of peace in Europe that had existed for many decades. And so again, something else to pay attention to here. Number 4 talks about how does the hand in the upper left hand, or what does the hand in the upper left hand corner represent? Here you see a hand, and there's really no explanation of it. So I'm kind of curious to see what you guys come up with as to what does that hand represent or illustrate? Whose hand might that be? Is that a metaphor for something? So curious to see what your responses might be. And then again, number 5, how can this cartoon be used to argue that alliances were a cause of World War I? We can take a look at this picture here and then kind of transpose that with this map here, and we can probably see, like France and the United Kingdom. If we find France here and the United Kingdom over here, they're both pointing their fingers at Germany. So we get to see how the ally system lines up here, just like it does on that map in the previous document. So alliances were going to be a key role. Another key thing that led to World War I is going to be the growth in armaments, or what we're going to call militarism. Again, think about your source. And really what this document is trying to show you is that over about 20 or 30 years, countries went from spending about 20 million pounds or dollars of their budget on their Army and Navy to 80, $100 million of their budget on the Army and Navy. So you see this massive jump here. And so, we get another question down here. How can an argument be made that arms buildup might lead to peace? Well, in this case, did having more weapons lead to peace, or did it lead to war? If I'm Austria-Hungary, I might not want to attack Germany because I know they're spending a heck of a lot more money on their army than I am. If I'm Germany, I might feel pretty comfortable going and attacking some of these other countries because, if I'm spending this much money on these weapons, I might want to show, what they're worth. I might want to be ready to use them. So again, what we're looking at here is another cause of the war. Just like the Ally system, we see all these European countries starting to ramp up their production of wartime technology. And we're talking new technology here, like airplanes and tanks and machine guns and things that were new to World War I. So for this week, we just wanted you to look at those 3 documents. You don't need to work any farther than that. I would encourage you, if you are looking for a little bit more context, to jump into your textbook. Chapter 29 gives some background information on the war and has a couple more maps. And it might just be a good idea to read through this or skim through it to get a little bit more context or idea for those documents. This is purely optional. You do not have to do it. I know some of you might not have your book at home, but again, it's a pretty good resource and it might help those documents make a little bit more sense. Really quick before we leave today, I want to jump back to our Schoology folder and just give you a kind of a quick rundown of the other work we have for the week. So here we are in week 2. Here's your assignment. Remember, we're just doing documents A, B, and C. You do have a quiz this week, so all you're going to do is click on this link, and the quiz will pop up. You'll take it right there in Schoology. We're giving you 2 attempts to do this quiz. So if you don't do so hot the first time, you can go back, double check your answers, and hopefully do better. We will keep the higher grade for that quiz. We will have the office hours. Again, my office hours are Monday morning. And then Wednesday from 11 to noon, I will be doing the Zoom meeting. So we had a good number of people join last time. If anybody else is looking to join this week, hop on. I'll send out the link to that a little bit before the meeting starts. So that will be on Wednesday morning from 11 to noon. And then lastly, we have a couple enrichment activities for you this week. The first of which is a really great movie called 1917. This was in the movie theaters over the winter. You'd probably have to pay for it, but I know some of you guys know how to pirate this stuff, so I'm not saying I told you to do that, but maybe that's what you need to do. But here's the movie, 1917. It's about 2 British soldiers who have to go on a mission behind enemy lines to pass along a really important, urgent message. And so this is telling their story about going behind enemy lines. If you like war movies, if you like action movies, I think you'd really, really like it. It's pretty great. And then we have this World War I virtual trench tour put on by the National World War I Museum. This is really cool, and it gives us an idea of what life was like in the trenches for soldiers during World War I. 1917, the movie spends a lot of time in the trenches as well. Trenches were a part of warfare in World War I and in World War II. And we think about the conditions that people lived in, the rats, the water, the mud. It was pretty miserable for them. And so what we're giving you guys is the opportunity here to do kind of like a virtual tour of walking through some of these trenches. So kind of a cool thing that you can do. And then lastly, we have this online exhibit for propaganda posters. And I wanted you to look at this week to keep in mind this idea of propaganda and what role it plays in times of war and crisis. World War I, World War II propaganda posters played a big role. Think about today during this COVID outbreak. Think about the propaganda that we're seeing. Think about, people that maybe don't believe that COVID is a big deal and the information they're sending out. Think about people that do think it's a big deal and the information they're sending out. So with propaganda, we get information, we get misinformation, we get the idea to try to convince somebody of our opinion. So some cool resources here for you guys to take a look at this week while you're doing your work. As always, if you guys have any questions or concerns, please shoot me an email or get in touch with me via Schoology, and I will be glad to help you out with anything you need. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a good week.